right, it's time to weave out the lies so we can get to the facts. Just when you thought that Canada's progressive leadership couldn't get any more incompetent, they found a way. Reports are confirming that Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is actively trying to, quote, Trump-proof Canada. And what that really means is that he's trying everything in his power to distance Canada from the United States. And let's be very clear. These efforts to Trump-proof Canada don't just insult the US. They sabotage decades of mutual prosperity built on free trade, shared values, and a strong North American alliance. And yet, Mark Carney has decided to spend $30.9 billion on Canadian defense, not to help protect the US-Canada border, but to pad Canada's domestic defense to reorient their strategy away from American interests. And now, really quick, it's worth reminding ourselves how we got here in the first place. It all started when President Trump requested that Canada contribute just $2 billion to help secure their side of the US-Canada border. That's it. But instead of stepping up as a partner, Canada's progressive leadership flat out refused. And not only did they refuse, but they also went in the complete opposite direction, cozying up with China and throwing down almost $31 billion on defense infrastructure while ignoring basic continental security. That's right. Rather than spending $2 billion to help President Trump secure the US-Canada border, they instead decided to spend $31 billion to go their own way and to cozy up with China. Needless to say, this entire situation is absolutely insane. Now, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney actually spoke about all of this just yesterday afternoon, and I want you guys to take a look at that.
In a crisis, plan beats no plan. And we have that plan for Canada Strong. And it may be the case that Pierre Poilievre and President Trump's allies here in Canada don't like our plan to stand up to the US President. He seems to believe, the bell tolls, he seems to believe that the best way to defend ourselves is for Quebecers and all Canadians to fend for themselves. He seems to believe that we should go along to get along, and that the best way to get through a crisis is to keep our heads down, to give the Americans what they want and hope for the best. That's not what will make Canada strong.
So, there you have it. Carney thinks that working with America isn't what's going to make Canada strong. Apparently selling out to Beijing. I mean, let's stick to the facts. That's the point of this channel. Mark Carney's leadership is fully aligned with China's political and economic interests. This isn't just speculation. It's a matter of record. Carney's globalist agenda is rapidly pulling Canada into Beijing's orbit. And the result is a weakened North America, an eroded alliance, and a betrayal of everything that once made our partnership with Canada so strong and impressive. And once again, this entire situation is only happening because President Trump wanted Canada to make a $2 billion investment into helping secure their side of the border. Instead, Carney builds out his own defense force to the tune of $31 billion, snubs the United States, and then turns around and plays lapdog to China. And so at this point, I think any reasonable person would be sitting here thinking, why? Why would Mark Carney be doing something this incompetent and self-destructive? Well, this is where the story takes a turn for the worse. It was recently discovered that a CCP-linked WeChat account ran a foreign influence campaign during the 2025 Canadian election that reached over 3 million Canadian voters. Its sole mission, to get Mark Carney elected. And as if that weren't bad enough, Carney also lied about meeting privately with various CCP-linked officials, and that's not speculation. That is confirmed. He was caught red-handed. That's right. China has been directly propping up Mark Carney, and Mark Carney has been lying about his connections to the CCP. And the reason why China has backed Carney is simple. They know he's not Canada first. They know he's not even North America first. He's China first. A bought and paid for globalist shill who's willing to sell out Canadian sovereignty if it means gaining favor over in Beijing. And so, here's the truth. This isn't just bad news for Canada. It's a direct threat to the United States as well. Because while we're trying to rebuild American industry and secure our borders, Canada is helping China build influence right on our very doorstep. China's election meddling through platforms like WeChat up in Canada doesn't just undermine Canadian democracy. It undermines North American stability, and it was all done to install a puppet that Beijing could control. Here's the unfortunate reality. Mark Carney has turned Canada into a CCP-friendly satellite and is now working overtime to, quote, Trump-proof Canada, all while he turns a blind eye to Chinese influence. Canada's radical progressive leadership has now fully embraced foreign Chinese interference, and they've done it for one reason and one reason only, because President Trump is putting America first. And on top of that, President Trump has been putting China in the hot seat during this ongoing trade war, and it would seem as if Mark Carney has chosen China instead of the United States. Here's the bottom line. Mark Carney's Trump-proofing plan is a Trojan horse for Chinese globalist collusion. It's a plan to isolate the United States, prop up China, and sell out Canadian independence. And it really is insane that Canada is doing this because siding with China is very clearly a losing position. Right now, the rest of the world is lining up to work with President Trump because they know the future belongs to nations that collaborate in fair trade as opposed to China's ongoing predatory economic tactics. I hate to say it because there really are a lot of good Canadians, but it does seem like Canada's insane progressive leadership is driving the country off of the side of a cliff. People like Mark Carney just continue to make bad decision after bad decision, choosing to side with globally predatory countries like China as opposed to their natural allies like the United States of America. It really does make you wonder just how much influence the CCP already has over Canadian politics if they're willing to destroy their own country in an effort to better align with China. But this is a good reminder of why America voted for President Trump, because this is what happens when you have a leader that doesn't put your country first.
Don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you found it informative. Hell, even share it with your family and friends. And let's talk about it in the comments here on Facts Only.